welcome to the 1976 Spruce Meadows Masters, and this afternoon we'll be featuring highlights of the...
And he got in bad trouble there. He lost his stirrups.
Whoa. Well, problems in the triple combination.
It's the most coveted Grand Prix title in international show jumping. Last year, Canada's Ian Miller defied the odds and father time. This year, world number one Scott Brash is on a mission to make history and win the Rolex Grand Slam. In his way, 2 rounds of jumping and the world's best, it's the CP International, presented by Rolex. Are you ready?
I hope so, Ian. This is going to be really exciting.
From very modest beginnings more than 4 decades ago, the dream was spawned. Spruce Meadows. Now celebrating its 40th anniversary of championship sport, Spruce Meadows is firmly established on the world sports stage. And today we bring you the highlight of the 40th anniversary Spruce Meadows Masters, the $1.5 million CP International, presented by Rolex. Hello and welcome to the Spruce Meadows Masters. I'm Ian Allison, joined as always by John Garner for the biggest day in this sport, the biggest Grand Prix in the world, the $1.5 million CP International. This is what it's all about.
We are finally here, Ian. We've been waiting all season to get back here again, like on the back of last season, how it ended up with Ian Miller's fantastic victory after a week of some incredible weather. Arguably, we have had a perfect setup for today, and what's in store for us? Something historic.
The international ring is set. This is a 2-round Grand Prix. Run us through the rules.
Fairly straightforward, to be honest, but horse rider combinations all take their first shot around Leopoldo Palacios' course. Now, the top 12 or all clear rounds will come back for round 2, carrying your faults forward. You'll come back in reverse order of qualification, fastest clear round coming in last. If there's still a tie for first, after the 2 rounds, then we have a jump off.
Countless storylines this week at Spruce Meadows, but let's go back a year and talk about that historic win of Ian Miller. He returns looking for his 4th title in this event.
Outstanding, really, Ian. I mean, you think he said himself last year that he didn't think this was ever going to be in the cards for him again. Well, he proved us wrong. He's got another gold medal under his belt from the Pan American Games in Toronto earlier this year. And so I'm sure he's quietly confident with Dixon and probably just going in there saying, hey, I got it last year. We'll see what happens.
You're talking about cards in favor. A man that's got a good hand coming in, Scott Brash of Great Britain. He is the talk of the international show jumping world.
Well, and rightly so. The very understated Scott Brash, a real lovely chap to have a chat with. But, I mean, look at that story. He's the #1 ranked rider in the world. He's proved it while he's been here. He's gotten better and better as the weeks progressed. And what's he holding in his hands right now? The first 2 Grand Slam majors of the season, and looking to add that 3rd.
Earlier this year, winner of the Rolex Grand Prix of Geneva, followed that up with the Rolex Grand Prix of Aachen. Today, should he complete the Grand Slam, it will be a historic day in international show jumping. We had a chance to catch up with Scott Brash.
I really wanted to win in Geneva. The year before I came 2nd in the Grand Prix, so I was very, very close to winning it. And I didn't want it to be a Grand Prix that had eluded me. Sanctos was on great form. He just jumped fantastic in the Grand Prix, and it was a fast jump off, and yeah, it was a really, really great victory. Aachen was amazing. I really wanted to win Aachen one time in my lifetime, and I felt that this year I had a good shout. The last to go, jumped 2 big rounds already. Daniel Dowser had done a fantastic round, a really fast round. It looked quite unbeatable really, and yeah, we set off and we just done the best we could. And we just nipped him, and it was a great victory. Just that feeling that you get, you know, the feeling of jumping, the feeling of winning a class. I think there's no better experience in your life than that feeling that you get when you win a big class. Or that feeling is amazing.
Scott Brash.
Sanctos is in great form. He's a fantastic horse. So, I mean, he really is a horse of a lifetime. He's so intelligent. He's a very, very clever horse. He loves the sport. He loves jumping. He loves winning. Our partnership is very strong. He understands what I want. I understand how he likes to be ridden, and it's hard to describe him. He's just a very clever horse and loves to win. I think there's a lot of pressure building up, and I think a lot of people really kind of, I don't know if they half expect us to win or whatever, but I mean the percentage chance of winning is just, it's very slim. And but I must say he feels in great form. He's jumped in the ring already. He feels comfortable. He's jumping well. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It is added pressure, but I'm really looking forward to Sunday. Yeah, I think you have to try and use pressure in a good way. Try and use it in a way to show what you can achieve, and I think it can bring the best out of you and your horse if you use it in the right way. And yeah, I mean, I've always liked pressure, and when it really counts and really matters. To win the Grand Slam, I mean, I don't really think words could describe the feelings, to be honest. Yes, okay, the money's fantastic, the money's great, it can help, but to me it's not really about the money, it's about winning the title. If I can win the Grand Slam and do something that no other rider has achieved before, it would just be an unbelievable feeling, and yeah, it would be a massive dream come true.
Scott Brash with the world looking on today here at Spruce Meadows. He seems to be quietly confident, and as you mentioned earlier, he's very understated about this whole environment.
Well, I think he's gotten very comfortable with where he's at right now, and especially with Hello Sanctos. You know, let's not forget that, I mean, this hasn't come overnight, Ian. I mean, he did win an Olympic gold medal with Great Britain at the London Olympics, so he knows about the big stage. He's gotten better and better as the years have gone on. I think he really understands now how to get his horse ready and how to get prepared, and I think he's done a wonderful job leading into today.
Today will take possibly 3 rounds to get to the victory circle. In Scott Brash's way, in everyone's way, Leopoldo Palacios' course.
Well, and I think, you know, that might be the toughest challenge. Look, the fact is this sport, by its nature, is just flat open. You're going to get the favourite. Scott Brash is rightly a favourite coming in, but so would Beezy Madden be with Cortez. So would Kent Farrington be with Voyeur. They're equally capable of producing the goods, but it's the rider against the course designer.
That said, who's going to get it done today?
I'm going to say Scott Brash. I just think he's just in a zone right now. But I think those other two that I mentioned are going to be pushing him hard all the way.
I agree with you completely. It really is a wide open field. The best in the world are here to take on the international ring at Spruce Meadows. With respect to both Beezy Madden and Kent Farrington, they are very fast riders. Yep. And if it comes down to the push, I think Farrington may have the edge. The $1.5 million CP International presented by Rolex from the Spruce Meadows Masters when we return. "40 of the world's best qualified to start today's CP International presented by Rolex. We are well into the first round as the showers continue to pass over the stadium, John. It has not impacted the level of competition, including a couple of clear rounds.
And one of them from Brazil, Pedro Venice and Cabri de Lille. Very enamored with this Horse Nations Cup day, and he's just jumping better and better, Ian. And I think Pedro's really enjoying himself at Spruce Meadows.
Very good. My horse was amazing again. Jumped double clear yesterday, and I feel I'm really good today. I think this is a really nice course. Triple combination of 3 verticals. It's a bit different than we see normal, but it's nice. So I think the course is very good.
If the youthful Venice was a surprise, perhaps so too was this veteran combination going clear. Richard Spooner and Cristallo.
You know, I think you're right, Ian. You know, you have to say it was a surprise, Spooner and Cristallo, but can you ever put anything past this fella? He is some jockey, and he can still pull a rabbit out of the hat when he has to.
I was a little lucky at A of the triple. I rubbed that one pretty hard, and it stayed in the cups for me. I'm just proud of my old man, and you know, the fact that he can still do this at that age and do it well just blows me away.
Richard Spooner advancing to the second round, as is Romain Duguay, with a coveted clear performance in the first round on this big chestnut horse.
Yeah, Quarita, lovely mare, really fought hard for him. Exactly the performance the Swiss rider was looking for.
Only the top 12 will advance to the second round and/or all clears. I doubt we will see 12 clears, but we know that the great veteran Wout-Jan van der Schans, part of the Dutch equation back in the 1980s, still here swinging hard.
Former three-day event rider, Ian. These conditions will suit him down to the ground. On the big horse, Cape Town, he delivered. Be good to see Wout-Jan down there in some spot in the second round.
Cowboying his way across the finish line with a little bit of a Dutch shower on the way out of the international ring. There's a look at the standings thus far. You see they're being ranked on time with the fastest of the clears posted by the Swiss combination. There's a look at the top 12 to date. I suspect we'll see the 5s and 4s falling off the leaderboard as we move deep into this field.
You're going to have to be a very quick 4, Ian, and hope things fall your way, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know in the end whether we'll get more than 12 clear rounds. It's a great field.
Look who's still to come. Former champions Madden, Lamaze, Miller, Whitaker. The list goes on. Peter de Vos, Olivier Philipparts, and then, of course, world #1 Scott Brash, all still to come in the first round.
How about Farrington? He's been there or thereabouts in the biggest Grand Prix in the world for the last 2 years. I mean, we could be talking about Farrington in the Grand Slam as opposed to Brash if things had gone a slightly different way.
That is indeed the case, with light showers in the area, temperature around 14 degrees. Actually very good jumping conditions here. All of the grandstands covered in the international ring at Spruce Meadows, so a huge crowd on hand to watch what could be an historic day at the 40th anniversary Spruce Meadows Masters. As we look back of house and get ready to welcome our first of today's full coverage, Kevin Stott, no slouch himself, former World Cup champion, coming through the clock tower here. There's a look at the international ring, 595 meters of track, 17 jumping efforts over 14 obstacles, and I think we heard it touched on earlier in the program, the triple combination off the water. Very, very innovative by Leopoldo Palacios.
Yeah, it did cause a stir in the early morning inspection. You know, it's funny, the riders get used to seeing certain things, and you throw something else at them, and they do take a bit to get their heads around it.
I think they were expecting to see the Dutch bicycle or the Canada planks coming off the water.
Very likely, very likely.
Kevin Stott, the great veteran of the French team, is now getting underway as a light shower passes over the international ring here at Spruce Meadows. That should not deter this great veteran.
The showers have been off and on, and the weather department tells us they're going to pass as the afternoon clears up. So I think if you can get through here, you should be all right. Over to the Rouen Cathedrals from Norman, Big White Oxen #3. And then there's one of Leopoldo's famous rollbacks, an area you've got to be mindful of for the time allowed. Beijing Wall, Beijing Pillars. Nice long gallop to the Rolex Oxer.
That could be a costly 4 faults. And now the turn back to head north up the international ring, starting with the triple bar, the famous Swedish World Equestrian Games fence, the butterflies.
5 strides onto the water. And then this triple of uprights. Careful, careful, careful. He got A done well, backed up a little too much for B. It's a fairly straightforward gymnastic exercise, but tricky to overcome. And another rail over the dry ditch. There's your bicycle. And down that goes too.
And Kevin Stott certainly not enjoying his final day of the Spruce Meadows Masters as he hoped he would.
I'll tell you what, Ian, you watch out for B there of the double combination as the last rail comes down as well, the Canada planks. That oxer is very, very wide coming out of B off a bit of a difficult turn. Let's have a look here. He got balance, actually got a bit too much of a gap. Correct, just caught that plank with his back legs. And then the front legs have the dry ditch.
Just not enough in the tank to handle this course today for Kevin Stott's partner. We have no change in the leaderboard as we continue on with the CP International presented by Rolex, and this man knows what it takes to win on this day at this tournament. Michael Whitaker, two-time champion of this event, although there has been a bit of a drought.
Yep.
And it's been a while since the British were pre-event favorites, the likes of Nick Skelton and Arco. I suspect to be the last time Michael on any given day can win it, and of course still to come Scott Brash. Michael Whitaker underway.
Michael's challenge, Ian, is going to be the time allowed. He's going to really struggle with Cassianato. He has all the scope, and I think this is a horse to really watch maybe a year or two once he's got some mileage under him. He can jump all the jumps, but as you ask him to gallop on, he can get a little bit out of hand. And he gets a little, at times he gets a bit wobbly. I mean, look how high he jumps over the fences, but Michael has a job on managing him.
Just 10 years of age, very different model than the two mounts that Michael has jumped to victory on in this Grand Prix before. Of course, Everest two-step back in 1995, and one of my favorites, Monsanta, prior to that in 1989. Oh, it's a tough rail.
Just over jump B. I mean, completely the opposite of what we saw with Kevin, where Kevin backed up off of B. Cassianato over jump B, couldn't dig himself out of A.
This is where you'll see the clock marching on.
But you see every time he lands, he's got to regroup. He can't land and hit forward.
There's who's on the bubble. Van de Poel of the Netherlands on 5 faults. Irrelevant now as the reins get a little long and the rain falls, as do the rails. So Michael Whitaker finishes up on 10 with Cassianato.
Have a look here. See how he just had to straighten him up right at the last minute, and he's weaving and wobbling all his way down there and just ran out of room at C. And that's where you really need the horse to pay attention and come right back for you.
The championship resumes continue to come into the international ring, and here's a man whose resume resonates at the Olympic Games, the World Championships, the World Cup Finals. Only rider ever to win back-to-back CP Internationals with the great Llanos. Amazingly, didn't have much success here with Ballot-Bay, or the type that you might have expected, but Rodrigo Passot is fired up in advance of the 2016 Olympic Games, and status as the 11-year-old Hanoverian gelding he brings into the Spruce Meadows International ring today.
It was close though. Remember I think the year Kumano won with Joost Lansing, except for a lost shoe around a corner. Caused a rail in the jump off. He'd have been there.
Oh, he was on the medal podium a number of times, but never at the top step of it, much to his chagrin, with Ballot-Bay.
With Ballot-Bay, yeah.
Llanos a back-to-back
Boy, that's
winner.
stay up. My goodness. Oh, he's lost his knitting, look. That's going to be a bit of a challenge, Ian. I think you mentioned it with Michael Whitaker's ride. The rain has actually picked up a little bit right now. The rains are getting a little slick. Rodrigo really had to slip him out over the back rail of the Beijing Oxer, asking for a little more from Status.
responded well there. Let's see how he packages up for this triple. Catches it with the back legs at A. He'll be mindful of the time now as 5 faults sits in the final position, and at the dry ditch, the day will come to an end for Rodrigo Pessoa. And indeed, he's retiring. Biggest test that this Hanoverian gelding's ever faced, and Rodrigo not prepared to take him down that final line, knowing he has no chance to advance.
Just asking for a little bit more, riding hard. He jumped the water well. I actually thought Rodrigo had done a super job. He got him back, got him balanced. It's kind of pick your poison, I think, Ian. Front legs or back legs. You have to trust one end of the horse or the other.
No shadows on the international ring today as this light drizzle continues to fall. Little or no wind as the great veteran Roger-Yves Bost fires up, still hungry for his first ever CP International victory after so many years, and great representation on the French team. Quadcoeur de Loge is the big bay horse, the 11-year-old stallion that he's underway with now.
Remember, over the years, Quadcoeur used to travel along with his father, Ideal de la Loge. A great partnership Roger had with that fantastic horse. Now with Quadcoeur.
He's in the captain's chair now.
Real game horse. Boasty, of course, has not gone to the same school of equitation that most of the other French riders have, but having said that, his horses love jumping for him.
Well, this next fence he will have jumped at the 1990 World Championships when he was part of the gold medal team. Nicely done.
Front and back.
They lost a little of their own synchronicity coming through the triple combination there. We're fortunate to come through with just the 4 faults. Can they hold it to 4?
Oh, he's working on it. Front rail.
So no change in our top 12 as Roger-Yves Bost finishes up, coming in under the time allowed, but he could not keep the faults down. 2 rails come down, and with them, 8 jumping faults here at Spruce Meadows.
Well, the way things are shaping up here, and those on 1 fault, even a couple of the 4s are probably liking their chances. We see Boasty go through there, came out nicely.
We speak of the former champions participating today, one of whom is on course now, McLean Ward, the great American who has enjoyed such success through the years, particularly with the great mare Sapphire, who he jumped to victory with in 2009 in a memorable jump off against Eric Lamaze and Hickstead. And Ward maintains that the horse he's bringing in today might be the best he's ever been partnered with. He is underway now with Double H Azur, just a 9-year-old mare. This will be the biggest test of her life. Oh, look at the scope there.
The scope of this horse, Ian, is absolutely unfathomable, quite frankly. You know, you think of some of the horses that McLean has on his string right now, especially with Double H Carlos, who's a small, zippy type, really gallops along. Completely different model. I mean, this horse was designed, bred, purpose-built for championship show jumping like this. I mean, the back end has got to be absolutely an incredible feeling. She's a little loose in front, but she doesn't need to be so tidy because she overjumps everything by a foot. Lovely over the water.
McLean's job is to get her to the right places and have her do the work, not get in her way, and that was as you should draw it up.
Technically perfect. What a picture. And now she's getting sharp with the knees.
Talk about his string earlier this year, jumping to the Pan American Games gold medal with Rothschild, who could not be more different than this horse.
Asking for a little out over that, no problem. 1 to go.
Oh, clean and fast, and my goodness.
Spectacular.
That was picture perfect by McLean Ward and Double H
Oh,
Azure.
he knows it. Look at that. He knows it.
You don't often see that out of McLean Ward.
Not in the first round. All business-like, but McLean knew he had something special there. What a feeling that's got to be. The other thing you keep in mind that, you know, Ward will have supreme confidence in himself not to mess it up. So if he gets there right, knowing that you have a horse of that caliber.
On to the second round goes the United States, with McLean Ward looking to defend his title now. The ageless wonder, Ian Miller, aboard Dixon. 12-year-old, Belgium warm blood, ridden by the 10-time Olympian, 3-time champion of this event, Ian Miller.
Place got quiet quickly, didn't it? This crowd is absolutely amazing. You just hear the water in the ground. That's really going to help as the day draws on.
Forecast is for the sky to clear up somewhat as we move towards the second round. The footing is perfect.
Nice ride.
The course is just playing out as one would expect on the biggest day in this sport.
Nice gallop there from Miller there, Ian, after the white jump onto the Swedish butterflies. Great ride. Great feel.
Ooh, got a little snuggie to the right side there, but perhaps by design to set up for the Dutch bite.
Now, trick is here, you got to get in right, so you'll leave enough room to ride hard for B to get that width. Perfect.
And the Canada planks. Ian Miller authors another chapter. When will it stop, John? Nearing 70 years of age and still in play to defend his title at Spruce Meadows.
I got a facts check for you to go dig into the archives over the winter, my friend. How many people have jumped 4 back-to-back clear rounds in the international? That's something to look into.
Is there a 5th in the card as Captain Canada moves on?
Consecutive, I suppose, is the more correct term. Excuse me, before you...
Noted. Ian Miller retires to the international warm-up area, still in play at Spruce Meadows. Who will join him in round 2 in the CP International, presented by Rolex? The rain continues to fall lightly on the international ring. There is the incentive for round number 2 off to the west. The blue skies are coming. And here are those that have looked to qualify for the second round. All the clears will be coming back. Top 12 and or all clears. Some of the great names in the sport. Those with 4 faults will continue to play the waiting game, as will the one-time faults.
Yeah, but look who's sitting there in that final spot right now, Ian. The defending champion, Ian Miller. Fastest clear round as we sit.
That would give him the final place in the order of go in round 2, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We will turn our attention to Conrad, this impressive 10-year-old stallion coming in to the stadium carrying the colors of Belgium, and on his back, great championship rider, great veteran, Gregory Wathelet.
Gregory, the current individual silver medalist from the recent European Championships held in Aachen, and what a horse this is.
He has got a short rein right now on this bundle of dynamite as he comes down the east side of the stadium to take his shot at the biggest Grand Prix in the world.
But look at his bridle, Ian. It's a very simple, plain snaffle. Nothing complex in that at all. And I draw your attention to the horse's expression as he canters around his ears. Look at that, right on the jump.
He tugged him there.
My goodness.
A wake-up call at the Beijing wall. What a surprise Gregory's got the rain gear on today. This is a clear summer day in Belgium.
Doesn't want his jacket to shrink. This is a fantastic model of a horse. Plenty of blood, quick, careful, very brave, but infinitely rideable.
Ears forward, knows the job into this triple combination.
Look at that.
No problem whatsoever. He's so compact.
Yeah. And he's a big lad, is Gregory. He's well over 6 foot. Nicely balanced. He's going to press on a little bit now. Get him focused around the turn. Slight rub, but no worries. Just the Canada planks.
Balancing, time not a problem. A quick trip around this course. Getting the job done efficiently with just about 5 seconds to spare.
Super.
So Conrad carries the Belgium flag into round number 2.
Super ride.
We have seen some spectacular rounds in the recent few, particularly from Conrad and of course McLean Ward's Double H Azure, as well as this course can be jumped.
For a while there, it was looking like we were going to be starved of some clear rounds, but now they're coming thick and fast with real quality.
Well, speaking of starving, someone who's hungry for a clear round with this particular horse, Canada's Tiffany Foster with the great Triple X. They have posted some very impressive Nations Cup performances for Canada in their year together. But on the Grand Prix stage, I think she would agree that it hasn't been maybe what she expected, with one of the great horses of the times, gold medal team horse from Great Britain, Triple X, now carrying the Maple Leaf for Canada with Tiffany Foster. Let's see if they can find the magic today.
I can tell you, chef d'equipe Mark Laskin is quite comfortable with the fact that she keeps producing the rounds on Nations Cup Day, and she's becoming a very reliable team member.
Clutch performance at the Pan American Games earlier this year to qualify Canada for the Olympic Games in Rio. One would presume that Tiffany will be part of that team, her second Olympics coming off the London Games.
It's gone very wide there, Ian, to shape up for the Beijing wall. Give herself a bit of room to ride at it. So much more confident now. When you ride and you go around the world week after week, riding in the top events, it becomes so much easier to deal with some of the intrinsic changes of the major venues.
The 13-year-old stallion now sets up for the triple.
She got by with it. Good. Now she can press on a little bit around the turn, eye him up for the dry ditch.
He has such a huge stride.
Just a little bit of room at this bicycle.
3 fences left to see if Canada could put another into the second round.
Press out. Oh, he never got there.
Needed more momentum to cover the oxer, so the 4 faults just under the time allowed. And with that time, not qualifying for the top 12. I think she just looked up at the scoreboard and saw the 13 come up.
I really liked her approach, and she came on a bit of a sweeping turn directly into the that combination there, and then just landed a touch shallow. Triple X got there, and then that back rail, he got so far away. Well, that was a tough break.
Supreme disappointment on the face of Tiffany Foster. Todd Minikis has evolved in an amazing way at Spruce Meadows in the 2015 season, struggling early on, and now with this very impressive mare, just 10 years of age, Babalu, very much at home, not only on the grass, the big stadium, the big materials, the cooler weather that he's used to, and he is a player on this stage now.
He's got such a great sense of humor, Todd, especially with things about the weather. He was always walking around with a scarf on pretty much all summer, but a real horseman. Interestingly, chatting with Olivier and Nicola Philippots, he is one of their favorite riders. Unfortunately, the wall comes down.
Just the slightest of touches can bring the Beijing wall down, and that is the case for Babalu. Now he'll go to the throttle.
They were both telling me how they really like his style, how he attacks the jumps, everything he hits on the forward. They find him a really interesting rider and a big fan of his. I love watching him.
Looks like he's got about 5 or 6 layers of clothing on under that riding jacket today, so he's battling with this cooler weather and battling with the triple combination right now.
I think he's up into call it a day with Babalu.
Yeah, he realizes that 12 faults and what remains are not worth putting this 10-year-old mare through. He will save it for another day, and we look forward to that with Todd Minicus.
She just flicked her toe at it. I mean, that's one that could just as easily have stayed up. That was too bad.
The Olympic champion next to go for Switzerland, Steve Gurdat, who has been close but never to the top of the gold medal podium here at Spruce Meadows, will look to do so today. And this year it is with Concetto's son, the 11-year-old gelding, owned by Thomas Fuchs, himself close on a number of occasions with the great Dollar Girl. Let's see if Steve Gurdat can get the job done. The only current Swiss Summer Olympic champion, which was a game changer for a fellow who has been at and near the top of this sport for at least half a decade now, enjoying great World Cup final success, great Grand Prix and Nations Cup success, of course, individual gold at the London Games. He would love to win here.
And reigning World Cup final champion.
Yeah.
This is a horse that's slowly improved over the last 12 months, Ian. Certainly looked more comfortable on the international ring than his last experience here.
Very active mover.
Yeah, got quite a high head carriage. The head and neck stays high, shoulders up a little bit. He's got a very active knee in his gallop. Something that Steve has to really keep bottled up. That's such a good feel for a horse. That was unlucky. That one was not unlucky.
And now we sit on 8, and Concetto's son getting a little strong as we come down this final line, the CP locomotives and the final test at the Canada Planks. Time should not be an issue. And it is not, but the 8 faults are for Steve Gurdat. There'll be no second round here at the 40th anniversary Masters for the Swiss Olympic champion.
They jumped the train double combination very, very well. One of those where you think you've got him back, but he just stays on the muscle a little bit with the front legs.
The 2012 Olympic champion departs the stadium, and the 2008 Olympic champion arrives in the stadium. Not only that, a multi-time champion of this event, all-time money leader at Spruce Meadows. We're speaking of Eric Lamaze with his new international partner, just a year together. Fine Lady is the Hanoverian mare he's chosen out of his stable today as the sun comes out on the international ring. A little surprised at this choice.
You know what, I was going to make some crack about even the Sun having their favourites, but yeah, it was an interesting choice. He's gone with Fine Lady, especially as he's also his partner with the Nations Cup.
He nudged that brick. He's got another superstar in the stable, Coco Bungo, who he is looking to carry to the Olympic Games next year, who's performed very well in their first year together. But maybe he felt this was a bit much for the young stallion.
Well, so far so good. This will be the test. Can he get it back well enough?
This mare is so fast, too.
Really stayed hard on the charge, didn't she?
Done. 2 rails down, no chance of a second round, and I think you will see Eric Lamaze pull up here. Yes, indeed. He realizes he's out of play, and he's going to save Fine Lady for another day.
Really over the, see, look, right there, the head shake. That's so hard for a rider to keep them on focus and keep the leg-to-hand contact when they're resisting like that. And that's where you have to rely on them to be able to dig themselves out. Unfortunately, it was not to be today.
We are deep into the first round of competition, and the horsepower and the finest riders in the world keep coming through the clock tower. Next to take the test, Beezy Madden of the United States aboard Cortez. What a combination. Cortez last year, I think, really stunned a lot of the world of show jumping by being the best horse at the World Equestrian Games and carrying Beezy to the medal podium. He's been a bit of a project for her, but horses are never in better hands than they are with Beezy Madden, and we've seen it with the likes of Judgment and Authentic and Simon and now the great Cortez.
And earlier this season, Beezy, the first lady rider to defend the King George Gold Cup at Hickstead with Cortez.
This horse will not look to be carrying a lot of speed, but I don't expect time will be an issue. He's just so big.
It shouldn't be in. He's, you know, we know he's got a big stride. A couple of spots on the course, though, Beezy has to be a little bit careful of. You can't really use that stride. But plenty of places where you can. This would be one of them. The line, you've got to be really compact.
Watch his front legs as he crosses his feet over virtually every fence.
Every single fence. It's incredible, really. His way of jumping, it just reminds me of a 747 on takeoff. It's like, how is he ever going to get in the air? But he does. He finds the other side. A bit flat there. Just got by with it.
Beezy has to keep his motor going here. Oh, masterfully done.
Keep the motor going, and then make sure he can fit in.
A crowd favorite here at Spruce Meadows through the decades.
Well, here's one, Ian, that if you trust the horse, you can make up a bit of time. Look how well she rode that bicycle. Now you can flow on a little bit. Scope test here, which should fall right into Cortez's hands.
There you see on the right-hand side of the screen what she needs to do to move into the top 12.
Oh,
no problem
bother.
whatsoever.
No bother.
She has the time, she has the clear, she has a shot at winning the CP International here in the Rolex Grand Slam.
I think once she knew she was in, a little squeeze with the leg. That's where you trust the scope of the horse. Now just balance him. A jump he's seen a number of times. He's not going to be confused. And you talked about the time, the running time in the 85.44. That's going to get her right down at that bottom end. One of the later draws coming in.
As you can see, conditions have improved markedly here in the international ring, as has the scoreboard as the clear rounds have started to come. There you see the 9th through 12th placed riders whose waiting game is getting a little more tense now as world #1 Scott Brash comes into the stadium aboard Hello Sanctos. The attention that this man and this horse have had on them through the Masters tournament has really been indescribable.
I got goosebumps.
World media coming off their 2 major wins leading into advance, cool, calm, and collected, and it's all come down to this.
But Ian, he's just got to be thrilled that finally he's on, right? I mean, the warm-up's done now. The competition's underway. Finally, I get in the ring and get on with the job. I might just let you talk, and I'm going to sit and watch this.
Well, he was first out on the course this morning. He's walked both courses, of course, and now it's just a story of Scott Brash and Hello Sanctos in an a silent stadium with more than 30,000 people in it.
I'll tell you, this is as quiet as it would be for a Canadian rider. They know what's happening. They know what's on.
Look at the paces.
Really aggressive. This is how this partnership goes, though, Ian. I think, you know, you don't get to see so much of him here, but watch an awful lot of jumping on the TV or online. That's how they approach it. Very aggressive, very positive, always forward. Bit of a rub there on Rolex.
I think he'll be aggressive down this line. He likes to get Sanctos to the fence.
Ooh, again, a bit loose at the triple bar. That knocked him off a little. He's got him back. He's in. Whoa, what a ride.
Oh.
What a ride. I mean, the horse did his job, but that was horse mastership at its very best.
Laser focus from Brash and Sanctos. The crowd over every fence with him.
Oh, he's got in. Come on, press him out, lad. Don't overdo it.
Left to go. Time not a problem. And he moves along the historic road.
Look at that time.
Oh.
Look at that time. Under 85 seconds. Why is that important? Tell me why it's important, Ian.
He's positioned himself to go at or near the end of round #2. And a little luck as well.
Look at that.
An amazing journey continues at Spruce Meadows for world #1 Scott Brash. And let's not forget, Hello Sanctos. Their day will continue in the sunshine at Spruce Meadows.
I mean, that is impressive, Ian. Not just the clear round, one thing, but he went about the job of saying, okay, I want to be clear and I want to be quick. I want to be in there knowing what I have to do come the end of round 2.
3 left in this first round of the CP International, presented by Rolex. First of the trio, former champion Peter de Vos of Belgium. And this horse Delano continues to impress us with his sheer power and his athleticism, given his size.
For a big horse. Yeah, absolutely.
De Vos was the winner in 2013 with the great mare Candy. Delano is his mount for the 40th anniversary edition.
Equally big, but arguably quite a different model of a horse. Candy, she's a little colder. But with the blood, it's something that you have to be able to bottle up. He'll get you to the jump, but easily can jump yourself into trouble in a delicate line. Of course, I'm thinking specifically about the triple coming after the water as he starts to make the turn.
This guy's become a real money rider, too, for Belgium. He kind of lies in wait early on, always making the cut towards the weekend, and then he shines when the stakes are highest.
Belgian chef de keep, Dirk de Meersman, really does rely on him. He likes having Pete in one of those anchor spots where you can really rely on him. He's a cool customer. Although he He could learn to switch himself off once in a while. He's a lively fella.
Reed Kessler sits on the bubble for the United States. She was the silver medalist a year ago in a jump off against Ian Miller.
Press out.
It looks like her journey will end as Peter DeVos continues with a clear round. Not the fastest of the cleans.
Hey.
Nonetheless, solid.
Yeah, but for Peter, he won't worry so much about that. If he'll know that if he can go and put in that double clear, which is what you want to do, you can keep those goose eggs up on the board. That puts the pressure on the riders coming after you.
You always say it's the secret to success at Spruce Meadows, just jump clear rounds.
I learned that a long time ago. Didn't do it very often, but
it's like shooting par at Augusta. Just shoot par.
Just shoot par, man. You'll be all right.
The big gray exits the stadium to catch his breath and prepare for round number 2. And another big gray who's jumped to victory on this occasion before, carrying the colors of Belgium, the young Olivier Philipparts aboard the 13-year-old stallion H&M Cabrio. This horse, to me, this week has not looked to be at the level we've seen him in the past. Some antics, he just doesn't seem as settled.
No, I think that's fair, Ian. I think he's all season he's been off a little bit, and 4 faults at jump number 3, and no room for Olivier Philipparts in round number 2, where clears and 1 time fault.
So the youngest ever winner of this event will not advance into round number 2, and amazingly, this stallion was just 10 years of age when he won, carrying Olivier, who was not yet 20.
Lightning in a bottle on that day. Let's have a look, see how they manage this. Oh, he ran right through his hand there. I actually thought that combination would set up nicely for this partnership, but that's a wise move.
Belgium remains in the hunt here at Spruce Meadows, but not with Olivier Philipparts. The pressure will revert back to a couple of the veterans on the team who have advanced, the most recent of those, Peter DeVos. As our final entry is on course now, Kent Farrington and Voyeur. He's been waiting a long time. 40 horse rider combination started the day, having made the cut through the first 4 events here at the Masters tournament.
And 2 wins already this week. He will be licking his chops at this track. Like I said earlier, though, Ian, I think all the talk has been about Scott Brash and what he's got on the line. We could just as easily be talking about Kent Farrington, so close to winning in Aachen and in Geneva. In fact, a couple of times in Aachen. Really hasn't been close, though, here for the International. But so far, so good with Voyeur. Nice gallop around here.
They can't hustle into this triple too quickly. He's got to give Voyeur a chance to sight it in over the water.
Can't just trust him a little.
Back legs for 4.
Yep. Carried on the pace too much.
So a dramatic end to the Masters for Kent Farrington, but the drama builds for Scott Brash, who's now the fastest of the first round clears and will come back in the final positions.
Incredible.
And we did not script this. Amazing.
I'll tell you, Ian, the guy came in with a plan and with purpose, and for me, just as an all-round sports fan, watching somebody, an athlete, perform at the top of their game in the prime of their career, it gets no better than that.
And we will get to see that going forward as Kent Farrington finishes up with Voyeur, and here's what happened at the triple.
Well, I think he felt like he got the job done. He wasn't really fighting hard, but Voyeur can just stay galloping, keep that pace going on you. Rubbed it a little bit in front and finished it behind.
Immense pressure, immense drama, focus and concentration all required to enjoy success here at Spruce Meadows today. And Kent Farrington's day is done as we prepare for round number 2. Here's a look at the 12 that have advanced, led by Scott Brash, who will be coming back in that 12th and final position. Look at the scorecard. Jan Candel of Canada will lead things off.
I'll tell you, a great round from Jan Candel. First choice. That's a horse to watch for the future. He's an interesting character, that one.
Round 2 of the CP International, presented by Rolex, when we return to the Spruce Meadows Masters. An incredible scene has been set on the international ring at Spruce Meadows at this 40th anniversary Masters tournament and its grand finale, the $1.5 million CP International, presented by Rolex. The second round course has been opened. The 12 riders that have advanced are now inspecting that course, getting a sense of what Leopoldo Palacios has presented for what is considered the toughest track of the show jumping year. And down on that course, John Garner with his thoughts on this 480-meter track.
Well, Ian, there's the first round in the books. Back now to round number 2, and we have 12 coming back, as we've seen. 10 clear rounds, 2 with a time fault. And look who is in the pole position, the world number 1, Scott Brash. That was quite a ride, I have to tell you, on Hello Sanctos, and he's looking really, really sharp. I had a quick walk around the second track earlier in the day, and my mind was straight away taken by the last line right in front of the grandstand. You got big white Athens coins to the double of Liverpools. We know that's tricky, and then a huge Oxus to finish on. But then when I looked at it again, this pair of jumps really caught my eye. 3A and B, really early in the course. Oxa combination. Oxa always makes the riders just prick their ears and pay attention a little bit more. Big power jump coming in, normal one stride, big power jump coming out. And right in front of the Meadowview building here, big gallery. It's going to be really intense, and like I say, early on, they got a couple of jumps to get going, but then faced with this bad boy, I'll tell you, they'll be hoping they're still clear coming to that last line. It's all to play for here in round number 2. I'm going to be coming right back up. I'll see you in a minute.
Thank you, John. The sun now out on the international ring. There's a look at Scott Brash inspecting this second round course, massive as it is. The 12 that have advanced get the opportunity to walk the course, and there you see him walking with Lord Harris. $2 million on the line today, and his dreams rest on the back of that great gelding, Hello Sanctos, 13 years of age. That dream has taken one step closer to becoming reality. Scott Brash and Hello Sanctos in the first round of competition over this 595-meter track. They just ate up every obstacle that Leopoldo Palacios laid out on course, and in doing so, completed the course in well under the time allowed. In fact, the fastest of the clears to earn himself the last position in round 2. The surprise, perhaps, Richard Spooner of the United States with the ageless gelding Cristallo. 17 years of age, and he looked like a kid out there, jumping around the massive obstacles on the international ring, coming in just under the time allowed, but will go forward with no faults into round 2. Then to the youngster, the young star from Brazil, host of next year's Olympic Games, and Pedro Viniz on this spectacular stallion looked very much a veteran. After jumping to victory the day before in the BMO Nations Cup for Brazil, he continued his dream debut at the Spruce Meadows Masters. When two-time Olympic team gold medalist McLean Ward got the call, the heavens opened up on the international ring. The veteran was not fazed, nor was his 9-year-old mare, Double H Azur, who he says is the most talented horse he's ever ridden. He earned himself a ticket to round number 2 with a clear round. BZ Madden, the legend, former champion of this event with the great judgment. She piloted Cortez around the international ring effortlessly. The big black gelding, 13 years of age, carried BZ Madden into the second round and perhaps a second title in the CP International presented by Rolex. Defending champion Ian Miller of Canada was firing on all cylinders in the first round with his veteran gelding Dixon. They mastered every line and every element over this Leopoldo Palacios designed course. When they powered out across the final line, the 65,000 fans in attendance at Spruce Meadows leapt to their feet. Would there be another magical day in the storied career of 10-time Olympian Ian Miller? Here's a look at the 12 that have advanced to the second round of the CP International presented by Rolex. 2 entries with 1 time fault have snuck in. Jan Candel of Canada will be the first to go by virtue of his 1 time fault in a time of 90.34 seconds. Scott Brash, world number 1, fastest clean, will come back in the 12th position here in round number 2, looking to win his first ever CP International, and if he does so, make history by winning the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping, and with that, a €1 million bonus. 480 meters of course, 11 numbered obstacles, but within that, there are 3 doubles, and that line of 9-10 AB just looks to be a monster, and we will see how it unfolds as we continue. John Garner, you're back from course level. It looks to be the biggest test we've seen all season.
Well, that's what you expect, quite frankly, Ian, on Sunday of the Masters, the final competition, and a competition of this magnitude, the final major of the show jumping season. And those that have punched their ticket to come back, they're starting to make their way. And first one in, Canada's Jan Candel.
Carrying forward 1 time fault. It's been an interesting scenario unfolding from the 40 that qualified to compete here today, and by the slimmest of margins, 2 with 1 time fault have advanced, and quite frankly, I'm surprised that first choice, the 12-year-old warm blood gelding ridden by Jan Candel, first time to compete at this level, and this horse really delivered against a top championship course.
Well, what I liked with his effort in the first round, Ian, is he dealt with all the tight, careful distances very well, and I think that really does favor this horse. You can see he's not very big, he's a very bouncy type, ton of scope. He's got a real effortless way of jumping, Ian, but I just wonder if maybe some of these spreads out there are going to catch him out, but we'll see.
480 meter track, time allowed 72 seconds. I think we both recognize that that final bending line, 9-10 AB 11, is where dreams may be built and made or dashed.
I'll tell you, the other area I think you have to watch is early. As we jump on over fence 1, number 2 coming up is the Normandy wall. But then this is the line to me, early. Big double of oxers right in front of the Meadowview building there. Bunch of fans right there.
They are massive.
Yeah, they are very wide. 7 meters 50 in between, so that will play a factor. That was a nice effort early for first choice. Bit of a free jump, if you like, sort of a set me up here. Over fence 4, on the way to 5. The narrow, skinny planks. Wide oxer coming in, upright coming out. Good. And then a right turn to the Liverpool with Tower Bridge, number 7. Ooh, he just ran right through that one.
He did. Let's see if this inexperienced horse now is rattled at all by that, heading into this very difficult bending line in the very corner.
And look how much galloping time there is there, Ian. We'll have to watch the time allowed. That's a place that you're going to lose it or make it up. See what he does here.
Taking a wide berth to the Liverpool.
Now he's added a stride. 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chased on for the 7.
Yeah.
Oh!
It's a big stretch.
You got to make your decisions early. It's interesting, Ian, because that line you talked about to the double of Liverpool's actually walks normal in 4, but the oxer really does take you out there. He rode it, I thought, actually quite nicely.
4 faults on the Liverpool, and then that back rail. I'm telling you, Ian, having a look at it, that back rail is so far away on that last jump. It is wide.
Perhaps the surprise of the first round was the result posted by this combination. First to go out of 40, the Pathfinders. One-time fault, a spectacular effort by France's Alexis Borin aboard this beautiful stallion Marlou, and there is Keith Creel, the president and chief operating officer of Canadian Pacific, in the center of the ring, watching each and every entry in the $1.5 million CP International presented by Rolex. Let's see if this stallion can keep the focus in round number 2. Scope is not an issue.
No, not at all. He's shown all week that he's right where he should be on this stage. Maybe a lack of experience, we'll see, for both these two at this level.
There he has that down, just a light touch.
It was a very light touch in, yeah. Jumped very well out of B.
They're now carrying 5 faults over the 2 rounds. That is a technical little vertical just standing there by itself, or a touchy vertical.
Yeah, he didn't jump it very well though either, to be fair. He looked like he got a bit close, maybe, and drifted a little bit to the right. Follow it up, he smacked right through 6A.
So Canada's Jan Kandel will continue to lead here at Spruce Meadows. That's the interesting part of this CP International, watching the movement on the leaderboard. And these rails pretty much equate to a minimum of $25,000 a piece, and some much more expensive.
Yeah, very big horse. Another one he opted down to do the ad. 5 strides, having to really, oh my goodness me, he got by with it there, didn't he?
Hung the back legs, visions of Tomboy from times past. Got them back up, but the second round does not go well for the French rider, Alexis Borin.
Oh, behind. He just touched it behind. I thought he cleared it in front, but...
Richard Spooner of the United States, I'll call him the miracle maker, because this fellow with this horse, the 17-year-old Cristallo, they just get better with time. And it doesn't matter the nature of the competition. They jump the derbies, they jump the Nations Cups, they do the Parcours de Chasses today, the biggest Grand Prix in the world, and they jumped a clear round.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, you said earlier that maybe the biggest surprise was Alexis Borin and Marlou. I don't know, maybe this one will give you a run for the money. He is something else, is Spooner. He's a great chap, but a wonderful, wonderful rider, a real old school horseman. And Cristallo just loves going on this ring and loves galloping and working for this jockey.
And although 17 years of age, I would argue could be the fittest horse in the field, probably on the lunge line for an hour today before competition. So the altitude and the physical demand should not be an issue.
Great shot there. Overhead right from the roof of the Meadowview building. Squaring up, giving himself lots of space. Nicely done.
But he needs to avoid, just as we saw there, Cristallo sort of drug him in there.
Yeah, he got into a bit of a fight, didn't he? Through the bridle. He can do that, especially on those tight, compact distances.
So we have yet to see a clear round here.
But Ian, if he can keep it to 4,
he'll go to the lead.
He will put some pressure on those following on.
A little twisty there. He bends the line here to the Liverpools. Oh, he's jumped them so many times in the derbies, and he gets through again. Charging hard is... he got lucky a couple times out there, and he goes to the lead in the CP International for the United States. Richard Spooner, my goodness me, with the 17-year-old Cristallo.
Arguably, he shouldn't have had the jump down he did have, but he could easily have had a couple more. Let's have a look. Wrestling back. Cristallo just giving him everything. And then Spooner realizing halfway down he's got to go to the 6th. to get to that last jump. Halfway down there, he realized he was still some real estate to make up, but what an effort.
If you'd have asked Richard this morning, 4 faults over 2 rounds.
Yes, I'll take that.
I'll take that. I'll sign up right now and give Cristallo a peppermint. Wout-Jan van der Schans of the Netherlands, great Dutch veteran from a great equestrian country, has competed for many years on the Dutch show jumping team, and prior to that as a military or event rider. And he is with Cape Town. He brings a clear scorecard from round number 1. His chef de keep, Rob Aarons, winner of this competition back in the 1980s with a great horse called Koh-i-Noor. And of course the Dutch, the reigning. Oh, that's dangerous.
Ooh. Well, he never got anywhere close to clearing. He landed right down on that back rail. Here's his eventing experience coming in. Just keep going. He got by with it. Yeah, it could have been nasty.
Richard Spooner continues to lead for the United States. 12 have advanced to round number 2.
He's got himself reorganized now nicely as Wout-Jan galloping on.
See him giving Cape Town a little encouragement there.
I think this line here, Ian, ideally you want to shape it out over to the right, give yourself a bit of room.
Just like that.
Just like that. That was perfectly ridden. Lovely.
And the shape of that is delivered at the Athens Coins well in advance. He gets a touch there. So, some problems early and some slowness around the course. Little tardy, 2 time faults, 8 jumping faults for a total of 10.
Well, he was trying to reorganize his knitting when he came out of this combination. Have a look here. I think Cape Town never even knew it was an ox until right at the last minute. I have to say, I thought Wout-Jan did a fantastic job getting all his reins back together to even be able to continue. Sort of a look back into his eventing heritage, if you will, Ian.
Richard Spooner of the United States leads the way with the seemingly ageless Cristallo, 17 years of age and at the top of the world as we speak. From the Spruce Meadows Masters, still plenty of horsepower to come. First and foremost, a young rider from Brazil looking forward to the 2016 Summer Olympic Games in his home country, but right now his focus is on a double clear. This is Pedro Vinícius aboard Cabri. Lovely jumping horse, modern horse, looks very nice to ride.
Pedro was saying to me a little earlier that he wasn't sure what to expect from Cabri. He can be a little bit spooky sometimes, but when he first set foot on the international ring, he said he felt right at home, and anywhere he can use his gallop, it's a real advantage to him because he doesn't have to chase him. He can allow the course to unfold and then just allow the horse to use his natural ability and carefulness. Ooh, a bit of a tap there.
The 11-year-old stallion got a little lucky there, but he seems to have settled in. Sometimes that can scare them.
But just see how Ian, as soon as he lands right on the bridle, he stays in rhythm. And watch, you can hear a bunch of whistling from the clock tower, urging him on for the time.
Time allowed, always tight with Leopoldo Palacios designed courses. 72 seconds is the time allowed as he bends towards the Liverpool.
Oh my goodness, you
That's
really had to work
horse.
hard. He's going to get a time fault, Ian. He's getting a time fault, but
he's the leader at Spruce Meadows with $1.5 million at stake today. Disappointment, but our current leader as we approach the halfway point of round number 2.
Somebody needs to tell him this has been won with that score, Ian. He really jumped. I thought Pedro had done a bang-on job. He got his angle right, but Cabri jumped so far out over the Athens Coins.
How he got his motor back, too, and there's the disappointment. Who knows, as you say, it could be celebration. This event has been won on a single time fault. The waiting game commences. McLean Ward of the United States, Pan American champion, former champion of this event with the great mare Sapphire, and this young mare he's aboard today, he says, is the best he's ever had, but just 9 years of age. Came through the first round very comfortably.
Yep.
We're at a new level now. She looks at home in this stadium after a full summer at Spruce Meadows, including a victory in the Atco Power Queen Elizabeth II Cup.
She is a big, imposing mare. Doesn't carry a lot of forward pace. McLean stays forward. But she may be the scopiest horse here at Spruce Meadows this Masters. Her ability to jump big, wide jumps, I think, is unparalleled. Lovely temperament.
Coming into her own in the perfect career cycle, if you will.
Look at that. Look at that.
It's like Altair.
Her belly must be 3-4 feet over the top of these jumps, Ian.
We often talk about them moving like dolphins and how they can use their neck and their back, and this mare is a signature of that.
I wonder with McLean, she's got a big stride. I think maybe 4 and 6 might be the option. He's coming direct. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Yeah. Now go on. Oh, he's at it. He's at it. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh my goodness me. She didn't know what he was doing, I don't think. I'm not sure what happened there with one of the greats in the sport, but I know it was costly.
He got the job done here. Look, 1, 2, 4. There it is. In. Land now. Just go. You got to go. As soon as he settled, see that? She popped right back. Took everything away for the 7 strides.
Well, McLean Ward revisits that colossal mistake at the final fence of the CP International. The attention of the 65,000 people who have come to Spruce Meadows today turn to Switzerland. Roman Duguet, ready to go. Corrida is this beautiful chestnut mare he brings into the stadium, 11 years of age, on a clear scorecard. This is a big, powerful mare.
Yeah, she really is. Simrat, she in type and model to Double H Azure, who we just saw with McLean.
A single time fault leads the way over 2 rounds at Spruce Meadows as the Swiss veteran tries to pick up the canter and get the blood flowing on this mare who jumped perfectly around the first round track. The Swiss horses should not have an issue with the altitude here at Spruce Meadows. But the Masters is also a long week where fitness and those factors can come into play when you get into this brawl known as the second round of the CP International.
Well, through the early part of the test, nicely up over the black up right there. Now square up. Oh, she got in so tight. Over jumped to the plank and then landed and ran on. 4 is not an option down there. You got to do the 5.
No chance to get the landing gear up. She's starting to get a little dodgy coming into fences here. Let's see how this very tricky line is handled, because you need to be very precise. Bend out here. Ooh.
Dodged in. No!
Oh my goodness. And
Ian, he rode like he was coming in. He set up for the 5, but then he got on the left-hand side of the Athens coin, so you're taking a more direct route. You have to go on 4 when you're in that situation, and I think in his mind Roman was going, I got to do 5, I got to do 5. And that, for those people watching at home, that is the danger of the count. You got to have that feel and got to know what's happening and realize that as soon as you land, your plan has now changed.
She looked rather unsettled there. Now it's a straight shot towards the double of Liverpool's.
Nicely done.
The single time fault continues to lead the way at Spruce Meadows with the young rider from Brazil, Pedro Vinícius, sitting at the top of the standings.
She jumped that plank so well, and then Roman just ran out of room there with Corrida. She tried to dig herself out but couldn't get it done, and things happened in a hurry there for the Swiss veteran. 16 faults from a clear round, and down the leaderboard he goes.
This is a big, powerful horse with a rider that knows what it takes to win the CP International. Peter de Vos of Belgium aboard Delano, the 14-year-old gelding that carries the great jumping blood of Cento, who also won this event with Otto Becker. And this is one of those classic power jumpers. We'll see if it's fast enough to get in under our time allowed today at 72 seconds.
He does have a bit of blood, Delano. He's not a horse that Peter has to overwork to get him to gallop on. The challenge with that, though, you can often find yourself waiting and trying to calm down, which makes it that little bit harder to stay on the pace.
I want to watch this gelding power out over these oxers. Ooh, had a touch there.
Little touch. So far, so good.
De Vos won this event in 2013 with the great mare Candy.
See how Delano skips along. He's swishing his tail, bouncing. It's not so easy to get a rhythm doing that. My goodness, look at that effort. Wow.
More like Kumano.
Now there's a horse that had trouble with time allowed.
Now he's starting to play a bit.
Yeah, he's got a motor on here. I think he's going for a time fault.
Setting up for this bending line, nicely done. Ooh, a little wide maybe.
He needed to do that in with the stride of this horse.
We are going to be on time faults, it looks like, and yes, we are. So now we have two at the top of the standings with one time fault over 2 rounds. Peter de Vos, can he win again in the CP International?
Let's have a look here. He did the right job. He jumped out to the right. Made the room really nicely for such a big horse. That is so tight in there. Nicely done.
Former champion Peter de Vos and Delano finish off the day as we get ready for defending champion Ian Miller, who's in search of his 4th victory. His second came in 1991 when he provided us all with a memorable Rolex moment in time. By September 1991, Ian Miller and Big Ben were already national treasures, with 2 Olympic Games, 2 World Cup titles, and the 1987 International already included on their resume.
Over the $1 billion mark in earnings here at Spruce Meadows alone.
In a brawl against New Zealand's Bruce Gooden in the 2nd round of the International, Ben showed his might, powering over the water and then carrying Miller home to victory to add another memorable chapter to the story of Ian Miller and Big Ben.
Comes home for the final 2 jumps.
Come on, Ben!
Ian Miller and Big Ben.
$235,000 richer!
Our 1991 Memorial Limited International Champion.
A standing ovation from the crowd!
Absolutely extraordinary as we are setting the stage again for the ageless one, Ian Miller. 3-time winner of this event, including last year. And as the 10-time Olympian approaches his 70th birthday, He's never looked better, nor has his horse Dixon coming into this big combination.
I have to tell you, Ian, his first round was as good a round as I've seen from this combination. They were on. Dixon was rideable. Okay, Miller was doing what Miller does. He's finding all the spots, but it was smooth.
This horse looks more relaxed than I've ever seen it, less antics. You know, he's always said that the French-bred horses take a bit. Oh, and he takes a rail in the combination. 6A, the Oxer comes down, so he will not defend the title. The three-time champion.
Let me throw this at you, Ian. Has word gotten back to the riders that 5 strides is riding really short? And then I'm wondering whether Miller overcompensated for that a little bit, just got Dixon back to look after that front rail.
And you talk about word getting back to the riders. It gets back in so many ways. There could be someone watching in Europe that's texting back to the hitching ring.
Yeah,
all of the scenarios. I know I spoke with Rodrigo Pessoa and all of the people watching around the world this great event unfold. Miller will not defend.
Clear in front, but he landed right on that back rail. It's getting tense out there, Ian.
Oh, and the greats just keep coming as we look at Ian Miller, who has won this event on 3 occasions. There we look at a man who's sitting on one-time fault. Peter DeVos, former champion. Will he be jumping off against Brazil's young superstar, Pedro Vinícius? Not much time left to see how this unfolds as BZ Madden, another former champion of this event, coming off $1 million Grand Prix win just a week ago, is underway now with Cortez. An interesting horse, a championship horse with one of the all-time greats in the saddle. I'll be interested to watch if Cortez keeps up his signature cross-hooved efforts through these massive obstacles here.
An abundance of riches for BZ Madden. Oh. You've either got Cortez or Simon. How would you like them to pick from on Sunday?
She goes with Cortez today, horse that took her to the medal podium at the World Equestrian Games, and a horse that I think she is expecting to take her to the Rio Olympics.
I think this course sets up for Cortez. It's a real scope test. He gallops along anyway. BZ is aggressive. Time won't be a factor. I really don't think. She saved some precious time there on the way to the Liverpool. She's galloping along here. I would fully expect 4 and 6 down here with this big step. Riding on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, my goodness me.
And then mowed it down. My goodness, from clear to 8 to out of any contention. BZ Madden and Cortez. A little bit of disbelief on her face. Didn't see that coming, John.
Well, he really dove hard left. So you change the angle in flight. Well, she got there on the 4, no problem, but he was nose deep coming in.
What a storyline unfolding here. The youngster from Brazil, the veteran from Belgium, Peter DeVos. They're tied equal at the top of the standings with 1 time fault. Still to come. 2 remaining. European Championship medalist from Belgium, Gregory Wathelet, aboard Conrad, and he will be followed by Scott Brash with Hello Sanctos.
Ian, you know, you were waxing poetic about the Brazilian horse Cabri earlier in the competition. I absolutely love this one. Conrad, a real modern type horse. He's light, super scope. Got a lovely hind end, the way he flips it. But look at that expression.
Oh, I agree with you. I just find his neck a tad short. If you ever got into some issues, there's not much in front of you, but he reminds me of a modern-day libero.
You are nitpicking there, my friend.
I am.
But, I mean, look at it. He goes in a little plain snaffle. Look how he folds. Shoulders come up, head goes down, neck goes down, allows the balance.
He looks like a dolphin.
He really does.
Look at that. Look at those knees. Coils up, because he's not a small horse. Gregory Watherley, he's a big fella. Peter DeVos looking on for his countrymen. I'm sure hoping for the best.
Little turf coming away there. Shouldn't affect them as they come into the Athens coins.
Nice ride there. Moving forward.
Ooh, he tugged a bit there.
1, 2, 3.
Attention,
4,
attention.
5. There we go.
Oh! I think he hurried him.
I didn't see that coming. He got a little bit ragged, maybe.
And then he just chased it down the final line, and that'll cost you another $50,000.
He did not need to do that. Plenty of time.
Oh, even the greats feel the pressure. So he goes from clear to 8 with 1 remaining. Will we be jumping off, or will Scott Brash make history?
My goodness me, Peter DeVos, Francois Matthew Jr. there. I think they're going over a possible jump off, discussing their options. I think you might want to get a comfy seat, fellas.
This is a dramatic stage as 2 veterans look on, wondering if their work day is over. Will Belgium and Brazil jump off for the $1.5 million CP International presented by Rolex, or will this man, #1 ranked in the world, Scott Brash, make history with Hello Sanctos? It's easy. He just has to jump clear. He has not had a rail with this horse this week at Spruce Meadows. Looking relaxed. He's a terrific guy, and this is a special horse. We have seen many horses in our careers, John.
That's true.
And we've seen the special ones, but we've never seen a horse win at Aachen, Geneva, and Spruce Meadows in the same year.
Well, and that is what is at stake, is it not, Ian? Never mind the money for me. And I think talking to Scott earlier this week, we were having a little chit-chat, and I actually asked him about that, and he said, you know what, John, it's the titles. You want those titles. You want to be a major championship winner. And he's done that already twice, but this is the bauble. This is it right now.
He jumped that fence to win a gold medal at the London Olympics. Young man, 29 years of age, who grew up idolizing the likes of John and Michael Whitaker, Nick Skelton, of course. And now he is on the sport's biggest stage with an opportunity to make history. And all he'll want to do is go about his business.
The other thing I'm watching here, Ian, is that I know he's got to leave the jumps up. I get that. Clear round and he wins. But the way Scott and Sanctos go lends them to not having a time fall. I don't think he babies him around and worries about it. He's aggressive by nature.
Oh, he charges at the fences. Yeah. There's a reason he's last into this round. He was fastest in the first round.
Exactly, and I think that got lost on a few people at the wrap-up, or at least as he came out of the first round. He's put himself in pole position to do this. Ooh. Oh my goodness, it stayed up. Sweeping around there to Tower Bridge. Now, look how he's galloping on here. He's got time in the bank.
There's a hush in the stadium.
Have you ever seen it so quiet? Oh, my goodness! Oh! 1 to go! Come on! Oh, he's
Scott Brash has done it. He has delivered what was thought to be impossible.
You think he's happy? Listen to that crowd. Absolutely fantastic. Historic.
There's a reason he's the #1 ranked rider in the world, and he just showed us, and he had some issues to overcome in the ring, and he did it, as did the big bay gelding.
Ian, how many #1 riders in the world have come into this stadium and not achieved what they were supposed to achieve? Plenty.
Scott Brash is not in that category. The pressure's been on him all week, and he has just shown why he deserves to be the CP International champion and a Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping winner.
Never mind all week. The pressure's been on him since he won in Aachen. I mean, let's take it back a few months. Brilliant.
Sense of relief on the face of the young Scot. That will be etched in our memories for years to come, John. Here is a look at where he had his first bit of luck.
Oh boy, did he get lucky. He hit it right on top. He knew it. He knew as soon as he got to that spot, he'd done it. Maybe you're not sure about the clock, but I think he knew.
Sanctos was not going to let him down the way he set him up for the Oxer there. History is made at Spruce Meadows by Great Britain's Scott Brash.
It might take him about 3 hours to get off his horse and get back to the ring.
A celebrated winner. Clear to see that everyone is delighted with what has unfolded here today. Scott Brash defies the odds at the Spruce Meadows Masters.
The CP International from the Spruce Meadows Masters, the 40th anniversary edition, is in the books, and with it, history in the sport of show jumping. The top 12 came back around the Leopoldo Palacios designed course, and early on it was tough sledding for those that did manage a second track. United States, Richard Spooner, and the ageless Cristallo, however, rolled back the years and were the early leaders with 4 faults. They were followed by Brazil's Pedro Venice and Capri, the lovely stallion, just the 1 time fault. But a great start to a Spruce Meadows career for Brazil's Pedro Venice. Joining Venice on 1 time fault would be Belgium's Peter de Vos, a previous winner aboard Candy, this time on the giant Grey Delano. De Vos would canter around, incurring that 1 time fault, but putting himself in a possible jump off against Venice. Would that be enough? The answer simply was no, it would not. A date with history, a date with destiny for Great Britain's Scott Brash. The last combination into the hallowed arena through the clock tower. They knew what they had to do to win the CP International was a clear round. No one had done it yet. An early tap on the CP signature planks. Seemingly that was the only reminder Hello Sanctos needed to finish off the job. Delicate round from Brash as he cantered around the final turn over the Athens coins through the tight 1 stride that had claimed so many before, and then a seemingly endless gallop onto the final Oxer. As Brash looked over around the scoreboard, #1 was up there to match his world ranking and history. The CP International goes to Great Britain's Scott Brash, along with the title. Grand Slam major winner, all 3 in 1 season. They said it couldn't be done. Don't listen to him, Scott Brash. We may never see it again, but history has been made. Great Britain's Scott Brash and Hello Sanctos, winners of the CP International. And here is the final leaderboard, 1 last time. Some of the greatest names in the sport made it to the top 12. An incredible performance, quite frankly, from United States, Richard Spooner and Cristallo. In bronze, Pedro Venice and Capri from Brazil. Peter de Vos and Delano, Belgium, in second. And once again, Great Britain's Scott Brash. Here he is with Ian Allison.
Ladies and gentlemen, a spectacular finale to the 40th anniversary Spruce Meadows Masters. The champion of the CP International, Scott Brash of Great Britain. Showing us clearly why he is #1 ranked in the world. How does it feel?
I don't know. Words can't describe it. It's the best feeling I've ever had. Fantastic.
You had big pressure all week. You and Sanctos handled it masterfully. Tell us about the 2 rounds. You were the only combination able to handle it.
What can I say about Sanctos? He's a horse of a lifetime. I saved him. I jumped Wednesday, Thursday, and we saved him. So I thought he was a little fresh in the first round, and maybe wasn't, you know, absolutely perfect, but he still jumped very good. And I thought the second round he was just unbelievable. And I tried his heart out today, and he's a privilege to be working with and to ride.
He did what no other horse, the best in the world, could do, and you are worthy of this championship and your appointment with the President and Chief Operating Officer of CP. Keith Creel, what a day.
Well, I'll tell you, unbelievable pressure, unbelievable performance, a phenomenal day for CP. The Masters, phenomenal day for you. Congratulations.
Well said, Keith. I believe it's about to get a little better for him. The rewards of a champion are about to be presented, if you will, sir.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure and our honor on behalf of all of our 14,000 employees and our customers to present Scott the check for the champion. Congratulations. I would encourage you to invest in CP stock. It's all up to you.
$500,000, ladies and gentlemen. The only double clear performance in the 2015 CP International. I will take it back in trust and invite you and Mr. Creel to step forward and hoist the most coveted Grand Prix trophy in the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, your champion, Scott Brash. Ladies and gentlemen, what a spectacular day of sport this has been. You understand the other elements that have been unfolding on this field of play, and I, along now with Scott, are going to make our way to the left, where we have another piece of cherished hardware. And if I could describe to you what this man's been under. He won the Grand Prix in Geneva. He won the Rolex Grand Prix in Aachen, and by today's victory in the CP International becomes the first in the history of this sport to lay claim to the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping. Arnold Bosch, welcome to Spruce Meadows.
Thank you. Thanks. Great pleasure to be here, really.
This man is a phenomenal sports story, and he is about to make history again. Would you present the Grand Slam, please? Ladies and gentlemen, the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping goes to Scott Brash, and with it, all of the rewards on something that has never been done in the history of this sport.
How does that feel? To win the Rolex Grand Slam titles, every rider's dream. I didn't actually think it could be done. It's nearly impossible to win those 3 of the biggest Grand Prix in the world, and yeah, this means everything.